Hey everyone, it's Joy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing a card using a new release from Spellbinders. This is a Fransformer Snowbirds. Super cute stamp set. And we did some heat embossing on our front panel and our back panel. So it turned out really cute. So here is that really cute stamp set. Look at those darling birds. There's snowflakes, some great sentiments. So what I'm doing right now is just laying out my background. I have these oval type dies. These are, I will have them listed below for you. I don't have them, I don't know the names of them right now, but I will have that listed and linked below for you. These are from Spellbinders, but I'm just laying out my design. I want to have some dimension. I'm not going to make a shaker card with this opening, although you could. I'm using it in a different way just to give a different type of dimension. But this bird has different types of eyes that you can put inside. The other bird has a couple different faces. So as you can see, I have that bird stamp there, but the little eyes aren't in it yet. So you can pick and choose what eyes, and also his little chest feathers you can decide to put in or not put in. I'm not worried about doing that right now. I just want to get my layout done. So I have the tree branch, I have the bird, there's 3 snowflakes. I'm going to use all 3 of them and they have cute little faces on them. And then there is an ornament that I have decided I'm going to use. So I just want to make sure that all of my images fit inside of my little oval die here. Now that they're in place, I'm going to remove that die and I can put this in my MISTI so I can get some of my images stamped. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some heat embossing because we're going to do some ink blending over it. So I'm going to start with the snowflakes. So I'm going to put this card panel in my MISTI. I can prep it with, I'm going to prep it with my anti-static powder tool from Tailored Expressions, inking that with Versamark ink, and then stamping that. I'm going to use white embossing powder on it. And of course you're not going to see too much right now, but once we ink blend, then it's really going to reveal itself. I'm going to heat that with my heat tool until it's nice and melted. And I did get my heat tool nice and hot before I took it to my paper. Now I'm going to add the centerpiece. We're going to do our front piece. I'm using Hero Art Falala Bold Prints stamp. This is a thicker stamp, so I'm going to close the lid and then remove that foam piece, that foam insert piece in my MISTI. I'm prepping that, inking it up with my Versamark ink. Again, this is going to be the front of our card, but that we are going to die cut that oval from. So I'm using the white embossing powder on this as well. It's just nice to get all of your embossing done in one time usually. Usually it works out that way if you're able to plan out your card ahead of time and get all your embossing done at once. But I'm going to heat that through, and again, this will reveal itself once we do some ink blending on the front. Okay, so now we've got our little bird and the twig, the little tree branch he's going to sit on, and the ornament. There's also some cute little holly berries in there that I stamped later because I forgot to stamp right now. I stamped them about 5 times. I think I used 4 of them. So of course I always tend to do extra so I don't ever have to come back to it, because that kind of irritates me if I have to come back to something that I didn't want to do. So now I'm adding his little belly feathers and his eyes. And then I'm going to stamp that again. I'm using Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink because we will be doing some alcohol ink coloring on this cute little bird. But let's first ink blend our background. I'm just going to ink blend the center because this is the only part you're going to see. I don't need to ink blend to the edge. I'm using Spun Sugar on this. I'm really liking the pink for Christmas cards right now. I've done a couple other cards that I have some pink on it. And I'm just using that die to give me a reference to make sure I have ink blended everywhere I need to. But now you can see those cute little snowflakes. I want to splatter the background with, that is picked raspberry, and then I'm also going to splatter with festive berries, so it has a little bit of red to it. splatter all over the background just to give the background a little extra something. Once that dries, then I can gently rub off the snowflakes to wipe off any of the ink residue that's on top of that. Here's our front panel. So I am using the picked raspberry. This is going to be much darker. But look at now, you can see all of that fun print. And then for the outside edges, I am using the festive berries just to darken up the outside edges a little bit. And then I'll come back in with the picked raspberry and blend that out nicely. Once I'm done with that, then I can take my rag and gently rub the ink that's sitting on top of the dry embossing powder, which totally brightens up. Now you can see all of the cute little falalas all over the background. Now I'm going to take this die and tape this in place. Now my ink is still wet, so I taped this down in a few spots, but then I had to add some more tape and wrap it around the back of the card because I didn't want to wait for my paper to dry. And I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. And now we have the front of our card with our center oval die cut out. And then when you put this over the background, you can see those little snowflakes, super cute. Let's color this darling bird. I'm using some OLO markers. You can see the caps there for what colors I'm using. The bird, the hat is R0.6, 0.5, and 0.4. Just how I've kind of always colored with my alcohol ink markers. I like to start with my dark, then my medium color. I blend over the dark, go into the white area with my medium color, and then with the lightest color come in and blend that all out. And I usually do that 2 times. I'm also using CGO and 1, which is a really light gray color, but it gives the white areas, so the ball and the white fuzz of the hat, it actually gives it a white look. Then we have BG 0.8, 0.7, and 0.4 for the cute bird. I thought the pop of blue, it's kind of a turquoise blue, with the pinks would be really, really pretty. So I'm going to color him in. He's just so plump looking. He's really, 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 really darling. And his feet, which I think I forgot to show, I just colored with O2.4 and O2.2. But here I'm going over this part again so I can get a nice good blend. I feel like 2 times with the OLO markers especially, I get a nice blend. Some of the colors I have to do it 3 times, and it's probably just me, but I still feel like it's a beautiful blend. There's his little feet. There's the branch is RG5 and 3. The ornament is R0.6, 0.5. Oh, and then 1.7 and 1.4, it's a green color, and I forgot to put the beginning letter of that. So it's G. So just a traditional red and green Christmas ornament. There is no die cuts for these, you guys, so I had to fussy cut them. So please don't judge my fussy cutting because it's not great, and I kind of just was okay with it. Here are those holly berries. I'm coloring with G 1.8, 1.7, and 1.4, and R 0.6. Like I said, I did 5 of them, but I ended up only using 4. But they're super, super cute. And then once this is done, and I fussy cut off camera because it takes me a minute, then now we have our card. We need to stamp our sentiment on the inside. So I just have things kind of loosely laid out. I have my sentiment in place. It says Seasons Tweetings. I'm using my Misty, of course, making sure that's nice and straight. I'm going to use black ink, and I'm stamping it between 2 of the snowflakes. So it turned out perfect. And then we can start getting this card together. So this is going to have dimension. Like I said, this is not going to be a shaker card, but you could easily make it a shaker card by adding some acetate on this piece before you add foam tape. I'm just adding 1 layer of my foam sticky strips from scrapbook.com just to give it a little bit of dimension. Then I can place that down over the top of the other card panel, and I'm going to have some other things have dimension. So this bird and the tree limb he's sitting on is going to have some dimension. So I'm going to tuck that tree limb in under the frame on the front, tuck his little wing behind that front panel. Add some foam tape behind him. Look at how cute he is. And I love the blue with his cute little red hat. And I'm actually going to have him tilted a little bit because his eyes were tilted a little bit. His body's tilted a little bit. A little bit of foam tape and liquid glue for the ornament. And then we have the holly berries. I knew I wanted one on his hat. And I felt like a couple of them at the end of the twig, but on top of the frame. So one of them is this one's gonna have foam tape, so there's gonna be a little bit of extra dimension. I really love dimension on my cards. I don't know. I mean, I do love a good one layer card, but dimension is my favorite. So foam tape, I'm gonna tuck another one underneath it. A little bit of liquid glue, and again, reverse tweezers for the win because they are fantastic. And then I felt like it needed one more, so I'm going to put it by the sentiment. I was also trying to figure out another place for that guy, but it just didn't look right. Usually I think odd numbers look the best, but in this situation it didn't. It was too many, and so it turned out really, really good this way. I'm going to add this to a white A2 size card base, of course. And let's add some details with a black glaze pen on the eyes and then a white gel pen. Once that black glaze pen dries, I can add the white gel pen dots to the top of it, but you just have to let it dry. And by the time I'm done adding the highlights to the rest of the images, it's dry. And then you could add those details to the eyes. But white gel pen highlights really brings images to life. I think it's pretty rare that I don't use this, but it adds a lot of visual interest for sure. I'm going to add some white dots on the background just to make it feel a little more snowy. I could have done that with white splatter, but I really didn't think about it till right now. So I'm going to add those, and then we can take a look at this card up close. Super, super, super cute. I love how it turned out. And I just want to say thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. Thank you again for all of your support for my family. I appreciate you guys so very much, and I hope you guys have a really wonderful day. Bye.